Hi, Dr. P here to answer a question that may be important to game designers. How important are formal game reviews? Well, the answer is quite different for video games versus tabletop games. I use formal to differentiate reviews by known reviewers and known venues from online reviews and formal reviews and player ratings and player reviews. The brief answer to the question is, reviews are a lot less important than 30 years ago, that is, before the World Wide Web, especially for video games. Think about it, 30 years ago, they were just about the only third-party source of information about a game. The reviews appeared in magazines and fanzines, and there were a lot more magazines and fanzines. Today, websites have replaced most of that. What's changed? Well, first, the gigantic effects of the internet. Then in Kickstarter, we sometimes have pre-reviews. We have online forums with multiple user reviews. There's quick access to lots of information. You just fire up your computer, type in a particular search, the name of the game and reviews, and there you are. And now we have the Let's Play movement, especially in video games, where you can find a video of someone playing the game and decide for yourself whether you like it. So where do buyers get their info now? They get it from online player reviews and forums. They get it from Let's Play, mainly for video games. They get it from magazine reviews. But magazine reviews come out long after release because of the way magazines work, and this is paper magazines. Also, given that this is the age of instant gratification and the big opening mentality for games, kind of like movies where they want to have a really big sale on the first day in the first week, by the time the reviews come out in magazines, at least the paper magazines, people have moved on to other games. Buyers get their info also from advertising, but people have learned to ignore advertising largely. Its main value is to fight discoverability problems. Here again, advertising was far more important 30 years ago. So the situation in video games was addressed recently in a gamesindustry.biz article. On the what works list for getting attention were Let's Play videos, Steam free weekends, that's PCs for those who don't know, and friendly informal cross-promotion with other indie developers. Now, of course, for the big companies that make the console games, they spend like millions of dollars on advertising, and that works too, but most game developers cannot spend millions of dollars on advertising. On the list of what didn't work were free app of the day promotions, trade shows, and Metacritic, the aggregated review scores on Metacritic. Similarly unimportant was the traditional gaming press, both magazines and websites. And of course, that's virtually non-existent now in tabletop games, but there are still magazines and websites that make money or try to make money about video games, like PC Gamer, Game Informer, Kotaku, and so on. And here is the URL if you want to read the whole article. EDAR, which is one of those research groups for games, mainly video games, gave Gamasutra some data that said players frequently discover video games via word of mouth alone. In other words, being told by other gamers. Word of mouth, which includes social networks like Facebook and so forth, Twitter, accounts for more than half of all mobile app discovery. In the higher definition game market for consoles and PCs, the word of mouth is a mere 25% of discovery, which is still quite significant. And of course, this depends on the size of the game too. And I'm going to read a quote from a successful Dutch mobile game developer. Getting a good review from a website is almost completely useless. It doesn't work for the app stores or mobile games because the players don't read reviews. They see it as a snack. You don't read reviews for snacks. You read reviews for $60 games. Remember that the majority of mobile games, video games, are free. Who needs to read reviews? Just try it out, either like it or not. But it's still important for $60 games, and of course in the tabletop world there are lots and lots of $60 games. So what drives formal reviews? And this is from another GameIndustry.biz article. URL is here. Lots of analysis and graphs. Quote, reviewers focus most on gameplay, but they also critique a broad range of other game aspects. Narrative aspects in games remain a pain point in reviews. Single player ultimately drives review score, even for titles with strong focus on multiplayer. Unquote. And that's because video gaming traditionally is a single player situation, and only recently has multiplayer become so much more important. And I will say more about this in part 2.